There is no wine if grapes are not pressed, no perfume if flowers are not crushed. So, don't be afraid if there are pressures in your life. It will bring the best out of you. Good morning, children. Let us continue reproduction in plants. Previous class, we saw vegetative reproduction and the various methods of vegetative reproduction such as fragmentation, fission, budding and regeneration. Today we are going to study asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, parts of a flower, structure of the ovule, pollination, its types, advantages and disadvantages. So now we pass on to asexual reproduction. Production of an offspring by a single parent without the formation and fusion of gametes is called asexual reproduction. So what do you mean by asexual reproduction? Production of an offspring by a single parent without the formation and fusion of gametes is called asexual reproduction. It involves only mitotic cell division. Children, you know what do you mean by mitosis and meiosis? Mitosis takes place in the body cell, meiosis takes place in the reproductive cell. Then offsprings produced by asexual reproduction are not only identical to parents but are also exact copies of their parent. Asexual reproduction occurs by spore formation. This is the most common method of asexual reproduction in fungi and bacteria. Children, asexual reproduction takes place usually in algae, bacteria and fungi. Different kinds of spores are produced such as planospores, zoospores, akinete and conidia. If you keep a slice of wet bread in a moist dark place, you will be able to see black spots. These black spots are nothing but a fungus called rhizopus. So during spore formation, a structure called sporangium develops from the fungal hyphae. Hyphae is nothing but the plant body of fungus. The nucleus divides several times within the sporangium, and each nucleus with a small amount of cytoplasm develops into a spore. The spores are liberated and they develop into new hypha after reaching the ground or substratum. Now let us pass on to sexual reproduction in plants. Sexual reproduction is the process in which two gametes, that is male and female gametes, are fused to produce offspring of their own kind. In such cases, both the sexes, male and female sex organs, are needed to produce gametes. You know already flower is a reproductive organ. So to understand, you should know the parts of a flower. Now let us see parts of a typical flower. A flower is a modified shoot with a limited growth to carry out sexual reproduction. A flower consists of 4 whorls borne on a thalamus. Thalamus is a place on which floral parts arise. The whorls are from outside. Calyx. Calyx consisting of sepals. Corolla consisting of petals. Androecium consisting of stamens. Gynoecium or pistil consisting of petals. So, a flower has 4 parts such as calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Androecium is the male reproductive part of a flower. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of a flower. The 2 outermost whorls, calyx and corolla, are non-essential or accessory whorls, as they do not directly take part in the reproduction. The other 2 whorls, androecium and gynoecium, are known as essential whorls because both take part directly in reproduction. Now let us pass on to androecium. Androecium, the male part of a flower, is composed of stamen. Each stamen consists of a stalk called filamen and a small bag-like structure called anther at the tip. The pollen grains are produced in the anther within the pollen sac. Now let us pass on to pollen grain. Pollen grains are usually spherical in shape. It has two-layered wall. The hard outer layer is known as exine. It has prominent apertures called jampore. The inner layer is thin and it is known as intine. It is a thin and continuous layer made up of cellulose and pectin. Mature pollen grains contain two cells. They are the vegetative cell and the generative cell. Vegetative cell contains a large nucleus. The generative cell divides mitotically to form two male gametes. Gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of a flower and it is made up of carpels. It has three parts. They are ovary, style, stigma. The ovary may contain ovules. Children, next we pass on to the structure of the ovule. You know where actually this ovule is present? Ovule is present inside the ovary. The main part of the ovule is the nucellus, which is enclosed by two integuments, leaving an opening called as micropyle. Children, what do you mean by integuments? The covering of the ovule is called integument. The ovule is attached to the ovary wall by a stalk known as funiculus, and the chalaza is the basal part. There are two layers are there, or two coverings are there, namely integuments, outer integument and inner integument. The embryo sac contains seven cells and eighth nuclei is located within the nucellus. Three cells at the micropylar end form the egg apparatus, and the three cells at the chalasal part, chalaza end, are the antipodals. The remaining two nuclei are called polar nuclei, found in the center. The polar nuclei is otherwise called as secondary nucleus. In the egg apparatus, one is the egg cell, that is the female gamete, and the remaining two cells are the synergids. So, two synergids and one egg cell. These three cells forms the egg apparatus. Process of sexual reproduction in flowering plants involves two steps. What are they? Pollination and fertilization. Pollination is the first event or first step. Fertilization is the second event or second step. And what do you mean by pollination, children? This you might have seen in flowers. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a flower is called pollination. What do you mean by pollination? Transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a flower is called pollination. And what are the importance of pollination? It results in fertilization, which leads to the formation of fruits and seeds. See, if a fruit is formed, what are the two events actually took place there? Pollination and fertilization. Then, new varieties of plants are formed through new recombination or new combination of genes in case of cross-pollination. In cross-pollination only, recombinations takes place. Recombination of genes takes place. You know what do you mean by genes? Genes are the hereditary material. Then, we pass on to types of pollination. There are two types of pollination. They are self-pollination and cross-pollination. The word itself you will be able to understand. What do you mean by self? By itself. Self-pollination is otherwise known as autogamy, or it is also known as autogamy. Auto means by itself, self. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower born on the same plant itself, on the branch, is known as self-pollination. Example, we can say common shoe flower, that is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Then we pass on to advantages of self-pollination. Self-pollination, already you know, the anthers falls on the stigma of the same flower. Then, what are its advantages? Self-pollination is possible in certain bisexual flower. Children, you know what do you mean by bisexual flower? Bisexual flower means both androecium and gynoecium. Androecium is the male reproductive part of a plant and gynoecium is the female reproductive part of a plant. Both androecium and gynoecium is present in the same flower is called bisexual flower. Flowers do not depend on agents for pollination. See, insects, some small animals, sometimes maybe wind, these are the agents of pollination. So, if self-pollination takes place, they need not depend on agents for pollination. And there is no wastage of pollen grains because the anthers are falls on the same flower, same stigma of the same flower. So there is no need of wastage of any pollen grains. Now we pass on to disadvantages of self-pollination. The seeds are less in number. The endosperm is minute, therefore the seeds produce weak plants. New varieties of plants cannot be produced. These are the disadvantages of self-pollination. So now we pass on to cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is otherwise known as allogamy. Self-pollination is otherwise known as autogamy. Cross-pollination is otherwise known as allogamy. What do you mean by cross-pollination? Cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of a flower on another plant of the same species. This is called cross-pollination. Example, apples, grapes, plums, etc. Then we pass on to advantages of cross-pollination. The seeds produced as a result of cross-pollination develop and germinate properly and grow into a better plant. That is, cross-pollination always leads to the production of new varieties. Children, now we are going to come across a new word called viable. Viable means successful, that will be successful or maybe strong. Then more viable seeds are produced only in cross-pollination. These are the two advantages. Then disadvantages of cross-pollination. Pollination may fail due to distance barrier. Maybe because of distance, a great distance. So distance is a barrier. Then more wastage of pollen grains because insects and wind, they transmit pollen grains. At that time also wastage will be there. So more wastage of pollen grains. It may introduce some unwanted characters because of cross-pollination. Then flowers depend on the external agencies for pollination. External agencies such as insects, wind, very small animals, water. These are the agents of pollination. So these are the disadvantages of pollination. Children, now we come to the end of the class. Now I am going to give 4 questions as homework. This is worksheet number 7. 1. What is asexual reproduction? 2. What are the parts of a flower? 3. Describe the structure of androecium and gynoecium, or describe androecium and gynoecium. 4. What is pollination? Explain its types, advantages and disadvantages. Okay, children. Thank you.